We're not doing technology for the sake of doing technology. It started from a personal problem. I was just fed up. I mean, I couldn't believe, and we researched back then all the possible solutions from the ATSs of that time, from the recruiting softwares, from the portals, the Excel. Before we start building, we were conscious of how can we solve it. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
It's mind-blowing that the humble job description is the early stages of a very simple algorithm that we are now have developed to do from the 17 processes that you said to 4.
We're in business, yeah? Business means capital. All we're for is a clean balance sheet. On the balance sheet, you have the hard assets, you have the human capital and reputation. The question is, who is managing everything except the rent? People.
AI is no longer coming. It's already here. And it's reshaping the way we hire, develop, and lead people. The question is no longer will AI change your workforce? The question is, are you ready? I'm Evangelios, hospitality professional turned educator, facilitator, and leadership coach. For over 20 years, I've worked across some of the world's most prestigious hotels, from Athens to Doha and now Perth, Western Australia. Today, I am a lecturer and a workshop facilitator, working with organizations and trainers to build real capability. I believe great learning changes people, and people change organizations. In this episode of In Focus, I sit down with someone I go way back with. We worked together at Costa Navarino, one of the most ambitious hotel developments Greece has ever seen. Since then, he took everything he learned about people, performance, and culture and built a technology platform around it. Kyriakos is the co-founder of Lycos Talent AI, a platform that brings HR and finance together to help companies find people that are the right fit. In this conversation, we go deep. We talk about whether AI is replacing HR professionals or giving them superpowers. We talk about the future of talent, the roles that are emerging, and why the people who resist AI are the most likely to be left behind. If this is the kind of conversation that matters to you, hit subscribe. There's more coming. This is In Focus. Real conversations, real experience, real insight. Let's get into it.
Thank you for having me, Vangelis, or Ivan. Sounds very, very good. Yeah, very elegant. Um, about me, I started in hospitality back in 1998. I had my first passion was computers around in 1992. So I was in hospitality from 98 onwards. And on the same time, I was always in touch with the technology, where the industry is going. And right now, uh, I'm running two companies. The one is on doing pre-opening of restaurants, beach clubs, more on the lifestyle dining. And also, which is the main now priority, is a tech platform called Lykos, which is about people. We help companies on developing their people with more accuracy.
We've been working together since 2010. Costa Navarino, Messinia, Kalamata.
Absolutely.
Some good memories. Then we can spend hours and hours just discussing about what has happened and the experiences that we both shared. But how do you combine technology and hospitality at the same time?
That's a very good question, which traditionally it's like electricity and water. In hospitality, we don't like technology. In technology, restaurant, it's an easy business, which is not. So look, I believe it was on my traits about innovation, about how can do things better, faster, and with less effort, if you want. And overall, is approaching the problem with any problem, because that's what we do with solving problems, with new ways that can benefit the business and the people of the business. I mean. So we can have better moments. Hospitality, for example, is not a job. We used to spend 12, 16 hours Yeah,
That's
but
right.
it never felt like a job. Like, oh my god, on the clock. Of course, there are people who see it as a job, but the true essence is it's a lifestyle.
For a lot of people, it's very hard to grasp that that concept, that hospitality, especially for people that are coming from Greece. It's not a job; it's a lifestyle. Like you said, a lifestyle choice. And
Mhm.
for us, the generation that came in with the big boom of hospitality after the 2004, the Olympic Games, the big opening of hotels, the renovations. Talking about the Hotel Grand Bretagne, the Hiltons,
Mhm.
and the Costa Navarino complex, which till today is one of the biggest developments that Greece has ever seen.
They're now
But
institutions. Yes, institutions.
it is. But working together at Costa Navarino, what was the experience? What did it teach you about people and hiring and how talent management actually looked like in practice?
Costa Navarino, it was the first, and I was very, very lucky to be part of the story of a more systematic way of approaching luxury at big scale.
Mm,
If I'm not wrong, we had 766 keys, right?
that's right.
23 F&B outlets,
Outlets.
venues.
Yeah.
Um, it was a monster. I mean, I remember the systems of Starwood. I was in love. I was in love. They were giving you the development platform. They were giving you the SOPs and all these things to follow. It was a far more systematic way of working. And for those who were inspired of doing something better for their career, they wanted to grow. I think it was a very, very, and I'm talking for myself now. Um, it was very, very helpful.
That's right. That's right. I still
Now, in
remember
terms
you. I
of
still have the image in my mind. You being at the pool bar
yeah,
and making all those mojitos and the daiquiris, the strawberry daiquiri. That was amazing. The strawberry daiquiris.
this
One
recipe
of
is
the best
it's
recipes.
a legendary one.
The legendary ones. I remember they were flying out the bar. And just for a little bit of context, Kyriakos was inside the pool bar, and the pool bar was surrounded by the pool. Am I
Yeah,
right,
we had
Kyriakos?
three pools, and the main bar and the pool bar actually was surrounded by a pool. Super nice venue.
It was, yeah. These days, I'm thinking of getting the family just to go as a vacation. Not sure if I was going to go back to the bar and start serving drinks. I don't know about you, Kyriakos. Do you still feel the need or the urge to go in and just serve some drinks?
uh, to be frank, yes. I mean, from time to time would be good. I don't know if my body will help me, will will sustain because bartending is bartending is like a sport. You know, I mean, you're constantly moving, talking. Being in alert,
That's right.
memory. So,
That's right.
uh, yeah, I mean, if we did some guest bartending shifts. That was 5 years ago, but yeah, on a day-to-day basis, I think we have moved from that.
I still consider myself lucky because as a lecturer and as a facilitator, I still get the chance to go and talk to students, high school students here in
Mhm,
Australia, and give them skills. And one of them is to have responsible service of alcohol, which is part of their
mhm.
the curriculum that students need to have, or anybody needs to have, to go and work behind the bar. So I do get my dosage of being behind the bar, and as you know, it's a bug. Once you get it, you never get you never get rid of it.
It is. It is. I mean, bartending for me, it's another art. I mean, all the roles are respected inside the restaurant, but it's something different. It's different. I mean, yeah.
So, Kyriakos, at what point did you think and you looked at how HR was being done and thought has to be a better way, right? What was
Mm,
the moment that pushed you towards building Lycos? And for most of us that don't know what Lykos is, can you just give us a little
mhm.
bit of a description of what the platform does?
Absolutely, absolutely. So what we do is about the human capital, and how we're combining the HR with finance, so we can maximize the human capital performance. In simpler terms, we want to make sure that we hire for high performance because is not all people fit for the job, and all the jobs have variations. For example, the chef in the cruise liner is a different chef of someone in of a chef in 3-star Michelin.
Hmm.
The bartender in the pub is different from someone in high-end dining. And these people, and as we're moving forward and with the generation now that is changing, we're moving towards Gen Z, require more personalization.
I see. I see. For me, as a lecturer, as a facilitator, knowing what my cohort gaps are, for me is gold, because it means that I can bridge the delivery, the facilitation that I do, and try to fill those gaps. But there's also data behind it. Sometimes you go in and it's just hit and miss. You have your curriculum, you tick off the boxes, but the learning doesn't stick. And this is where platforms like Lycos will come in and bridge that gap and give us the data so we can deliver better learning experiences. So going from the world of luxury hospitality to building a tech platform is huge, right? What surprised you most about making this transition?
That's a very good question. In my journey, what was surprising, actually, I had a very good surprise. So when we launched Lycos in 2020, we launched from hospitality. Now we're in different industries as well. We were extremely uh, lucky, successful. I mean, you name it, because everyone back in 2020, at least the HR at the time, they grasped it straight away, and they they managed to see results.
Mm.
So I had a very good surprise on on building a tech platform for hospitality back then. Now, in terms of my learning, it was a different world. So for me, yes, I was a technical guy, but still I had the people skills. But moving into tech, we're talking for a different animal. Um, and now, as we move forward, it's my role now is purely technical. So it's surprising. Start working with data. How I mean, I'm a prime example as well. How you have to lose your people skills so you can become more technical, or how long it takes to become super technical person because you need analytical skills, get to work with coding, architectures is completely different.
Is that a compromise that you have to make, Kyriakos?
That's a very good question. Look, yeah, it is. It is in a sense because the more you start going into science, going into measuring things, the communication starts wearing off. So it's and I find it and I've seen among and it's very very well common in the industry. Talking with developers, sometimes you cannot communicate. Talking with scientists, very difficult. We can communicate well with data scientists that can take the models and express them in real terms. Like how do we say reducing 75% of X? Yeah, we can break it into context. But when we're talking with scientists, when we're talking with people that don't need to have people skills, yeah, um, it is a compromise.
And this is what I'm thinking, that being in a hospitality background and having those soft skills, the human skills,
Mhm.
that is your superpower, because then you can
It
be a
is.
conduit between the two worlds.
It is. It is. Even and look, I mean, you cannot dehumanize hospitality. I mean, that's all. I mean, hospitality is the cornerstone of the society. Um, it developed to a lifestyle the last 20 years. You had problems, you would go to a bar. You wanted to feel, go out, you would go to a nice restaurant. That's history. Later on, it became a lifestyle. Then later on, social media came. Let me take pictures. Let me first take a picture of the dish. It doesn't matter if it's going to get cold or if we can eat it later, but I took my nice picture. Of course, this is part of programs in restaurants now to have
Yeah.
Instagrammable dishes and, and play and areas in the restaurant for people to accommodate this need. It's valid. Yeah, I'm not making fun of it. It's just how the evolution of the industry um, took place. And this is where people like you, that you were hands-on, you've seen it from the beginning, before too much technology, where we could communicate with the eyes, if this expression makes sense in English. Yeah, because that was because your background as well is from very, very fast-paced, high-end, and high standards establishments. You should communicate with the eye because there was no time to have a machine to pass the information quickly so we can get it done. And this is what we see now also in the industry, that due to the expansion, a very fast expansion, we haven't passed the real meaning of what is it to be part of this lifestyle and not to turn it into a job. And where lecturers like yourself are very, very important on it's not just a textbook or playbook. You've seen it. So the feeling the way you're transmitting and the way your audience, your students accept has 10 times more value than reading the book, because always with learning, things become easier. Then it's a matter of the core competencies, the soft skills, if they have it or if they need to develop it. That's it. I mean, there's two paths. And in more simple language, either you got it or not. So in our case, is if you don't got it, you need to develop it. It would just take a bit longer. If the passion is there for someone to be behind the bar, talking with their guests, because we don't have clients in hospitality, we have guests, right?
That's right.
A guest of honor. And we don't have PAX. Yeah, that's my professional twist. No PAX. We have guests. PAX comes from the
Yeah.
transportation industry. Um, yeah, developing the skills. Yeah, it's a matter of core personality. If
You said something.
yeah.
Sorry, you said something before. You said we are optimizing everything for the algorithm. We're taking photos for
Mhm.
the Instagram. Restaurants are optimizing their ads through Meta, Google Ads, etc., so they
Mhm.
can get it into more people's eyes, right? In the same context, Lykos is offering to cut time by 75% in hiring process.
Mhm.
Now, for someone that hasn't seen it in action, how does the hiring process look like before Lykos versus after?
Very good question. Where the world is still today, although we have so much technology, we can understand or adopt. Before, looks like the traditional hire slowly, fire fast. The process will start with putting out an advertisement or looking internally into their talent pools, get in touch with their candidates or whatever profiles they're fitting the job, which means you have to go through tons of of paper CVs or any digital forms the CVs might be, or maybe they have some recruiting softwares where they can filter so they can make it faster. Then the second step would be to review all this and see if the candidates are still on the industry. We had many people left our industry during COVID, especially. They were hand handling due to their people skills that you were saying earlier. So other industries, when the hand handling people, really good ones from us, and then they need to start scheduling interviews, which is the most painful. Scheduling. Can you do then? Can you do Monday 4 p.m.? Yes, sure. Non-show. Or last minute schedule, or someone is getting sick. There's so many parameters in the workflow of recruiting, which what is the bottom line is that good people, they don't stay on the market for too long. If you have some good ones, they will be hired within a week. So
Right.
the traditional way, hire slowly, it doesn't work, which creates bottlenecks and pressure into the team. They don't have then time, because you're not going to hire an army of HR. You're not going to hire 12 people in the HR if you are a small company. Even the big ones, still they're not going to have the ratio thing is up to it's one HR for every 100 people. depending, of course, on the company. And then this is where the time that human resources are falling behind, and then you're starting a vicious cycle of I'm leaving, I'm going to the competitor for I don't know, 50 euros more. It's a mess. It's a big mess. So what we're doing is, and this is how my journey started. I used to run a very big group in Dubai 2017. Of course, my observations on this process started from very early, because back in the university, we remember HR is about developing people. The recruitment process needs to be very lean, very fast. After working 3, 4 different countries, I realized that this was just on the books. Um, but still, the books they were making sense. So what was happening? I was running an organization in Dubai, 2017. I used to have 400 team members, two general managers, three big venues. One of the most historical rooftop, the biggest beach club in Dubai for the time. I had 4 people, a team of 4 on the HR. I supposed to do strategy, models, best case, worst case, base case scenarios, so can always navigate the markets. All I was doing for for a specific period of time is reviewing CVs, having a lineup of having to meet people. I was so frustrated. I'm like, you know what, this doesn't work. It doesn't work neither for me, but not for the candidates too. Coming to an interview, waiting for an answer. We had a policy that we should send a regret letter to everyone, no matter what, which was another painful process. Nowadays, nobody's giving feedback to the candidates. I was so frustrated. I'm like, I want to have one button, push on a button. I want to see one person, because there's no point of wasting time. Either we're going to do business or we're going to have, this kind of processes. This is how it started, and I took the full workflow of the recruitment. It takes 17 steps, and I will start removing steps, narrow it down to 4. This is how we flipped the hire slowly to hire fast, and hire once.
Hang
So
on. Say that
yeah,
again. Say that again. 17 steps to 4?
17 steps to complete the recruitment workflow. We we reduce it to 4 steps, and actually today it's even less.
That's amazing. That's an incredible feat to have 17 steps. And I can imagine when you're trying to hire people and trying to be on top of everything that you're doing. Because as a manager, and when you work in hospitality, you do a lot of things. You're
Of course.
stretched out and you're doing 10 things at the same time. And having to drop from 17 to 4, that's an amazing thing.
Mhm. Even it's practical. We're not doing technology for the sake of doing technology. It started from a personal problem. I was just fed up. I mean, I couldn't believe, and we researched back then all the possible solutions from the ATSs of the time, from the recruiting softwares, from the portals, the Excel. Before we start building, we were, very, very conscious of how can we solve it. I mean, it doesn't make any sense, and there were no tools back then to help us. Because back then we had the ATSs where they would, get a CV, but it was based on keywords. Maybe the CV is not right. The CV, first of all, doesn't say the whole story. And especially nowadays, there is systems out there you can write. It can write 100 CVs and apply to 100 jobs for you and pass any ATS keyword matching algorithms. Yeah. So
The problem with that is
uh,
when you go and actually have the interview, you as a candidate cannot back that up.
what you're describing now, it's pretty much 30% of the cases. So what clients and prospects reporting is you do the process, 70 steps. If you are lucky and they haven't found a job somewhere else, so you have wasted the full cycle of an hours. We're talking for many hours here of the HR and the managers, and you give them the offer, and they're a different person after they get the offer. And then because they already spent money And time, they're living with the hope, okay, it will get better. But this doesn't get better. Most of the times, actually, it creates problems to the existing team. Because okay, where did you find this person? Or the validation of hiring based on CV is 3%. So out of 100 people, 3% will be spot on.
Now you're touching on a bigger subject, which is the culture of a company. And by injecting someone that it's not compatible with the rest of the team, just because he passed on 3 interviews and the algorithm, the ATS, and all that systems, which finally you brought him in, and then you're risking the culture of the company that you've built up and you're trying to protect and develop. Which brings me to the next question, Kyriakos. You know, no doubt, it's effective. You have your workflows, you've cut down on time, you have increased the possibility of getting quality people through the platform. The workflow now cuts down the timing, and you literally are in face to face and doing the interview with the person that probably the probability of them being the right candidate is very high because they've gone through the process. Now, with AI, as you know, there are many concerns. And we're talking about bias, fairness. Even the candidate can say, well, the algorithm didn't pick me. How does Lycos think about the ethical AI, and how do you build trust with both employees as well as the employers?
Uh, Bias is in our DNA. Yeah. We as humans were hard coded, hardwired with more than 200 biases. First impression, last impression. And what we see into what you just mentioned in terms of passing the 3 interviews, it's a very, very, very good skill, the skill of likability. Yeah. I like you, you're getting hired. Hope for the best. Yeah. It may work, but science, the data shows us is very, very low probability. So now, how we can do that and how we can be fair? As we said in the beginning, the first and foremost reason of building Lycos and with the science team. I mean, our science team is coming from Harvard University, actually IBM software engineers. So we know AI is a biased technology. Yeah, and I'm saying very politely, it is biased no matter what. I mean, and it's proven. It's mathematics, right? What all the architecture of AI we're using now, the generative AI, most people know because there is no only generative AI. There's other types of artificial intelligence as well. It has one job: to predict the next word. That's all it does. You even asking things, even if the machine knows you're wrong, it will still answer to your liking because it's built like this. Yeah, of course there is ways to mitigate that. Yeah, it's just how do you structure your queries when you're asking things from any uh, chat interface that is connected uh, to artificial intelligence to generate text. But overall, and coming back to our methods and architecture, especially on the people side, you need certifications. Bias is there. However, we do mitigate bias, but a very specific process, which is also certified by EEOC from the US, on the Equal Opportunities Organization from the United States, where we protect against adverse impact of the algorithm. Now, getting into the technical things, I don't think we'll add any value on how we do that, but it's very, very important not to burn people. Now, the algorithm didn't pick me. Why is that? Because the algorithm is looking with cold mathematics, if it's bias free, which we are, um, find me among a specific group of people that will come through the system and give me those that fit better for retention and performance, which is purely it's purely a probability algorithm. Something else, these algorithms, they're not 100% accurate. They will never be. Yeah, even for us, what our clients come and say, we find it 90% accurate, which is huge. We don't even admit that. We are close to 80% of accuracy, which again, it's massive. But this is possible because the AI is bias free. So if the technology, which is a different architecture, is not generative AI, is not certified bias free, you're not going to get this accuracy, and you will have this phenomenon. It didn't pick me, or I lost the job, which it's a massive chapter because it can reach. I mean, at least in the US, it we have here the horror stories, lawsuits, and but it's not about this. It's about how you're structuring your technology. So for example, we don't keep their data. We anonymize them, process them, and send it back. It's a matter of how its companies, what is the ethics of the company to build ethical AI. It starts from the
It's
humans, and that's why it's a biased tool as well, because we have our biases when we're building the tool. It's a tool.
so what I'm hearing, Kyriakos, is that we made a machine in the way we look and the way we think and the way we predict the future. So we wanted a tool to predict the future for us based on our instincts.
In a sense, yes. In a sense, yes. But again, we talk where we have reached right now. I'm not talking for again. I'll speak more about what we do. It's about how probable. I mean, we asking the machine one question. Yeah. If I invest with this person, will it stay longer with us? Will it be a high performer? Source for me the right fit. And what is the right fit? The right fit is an old process of the HR called benchmarking. So the story goes back in the 50s, there were 2 billion people back then. There was no need for these systems, and people have different ethics. Let's say I'm an accounting firm, I have my one good accountant. Now I have more business, I need to hire another accountant. What I will do, okay, Mr. John is an excellent employee. Let me create a job description. Yeah, that was the very early stages of I want to have this skill set, I want to have these soft skills or these competencies. So this job description then, as we evolved and we reached the 2000s where we were 6 billion of people, industries were exploding. Hospitality was one of the industries that got exploded, and we couldn't bridge the gap of transferring the skills. So you would see one waiter becoming a general manager overnight. Disaster, yeah. The job description then will become the blueprint of this is the next best employee we're looking for to hire based on data, right? They wouldn't see it as data back then, but it was proven. It was a proven algorithm, yeah, not technology algorithm, but it's an algorithm.
That's
So
right.
we took this concept and we made it the right, how we can find the right fit and put it in the beginning of the process. So by placing it, for example, the industry also has other tools, any kind of psychometric assessments that they're measuring personality and all these things. But for us, it doesn't matter. I mean, maybe someone has great personality, but it's not the right fit for my business. So this is where we tweaked the concept in order we ask the system, I will have an inflow of 100, 1,000, 10,000 people. I don't want to waste their time. I don't want to waste my time. So let's find who will be the most successful. And this is what the algorithm does with very, very high success. And we also give feedback back to the candidates because now with technology it's easy. Give them feedback and where else they should look for.
It's mind blowing that the humble job description is the early stages of a very simple algorithm that we are now have developed to do from the 17 processes that you said to 4.
Mhm.
it's it's incredible. And yes, you're right. You want to have criteria in order for you to select people that will fill those criteria and make sure that you have someone that actually can do the job to the outcome that you desire as a company or as an individual. But
Mhm.
what I'm seeing Lycos doing, which is amazing, is that you're tackling both recruitment and performance management under one roof. Most companies will pick one or the other. Why you decided to go end to end? And I'm pretty sure you're going to tell me what's the advantage of that.
We're in business. Yeah. Business means capital. All we're for is a clean balance sheet. On the balance sheet, you have the hard assets, you have the human capital and reputation. I'm just simplifying now for the sake of easier conversation. We don't need to become too technical on this. The question is, who is managing everything except the rent?
That's right.
What's happening right now is HR, they're more on the people side. They have people skills. They're not analytical. Not. I'm not talking for everyone. Of course, there are people out there on the HR doing fantastic job. But the majority, they're not on the people's. They're on the people side. They're not on the justifying a budget. Then you go into the finance side. They're not people special. They're analytical. They're not. Those two, they cannot work together. They cannot communicate. So I want to put a new system. I want to develop. I want the learning and development program. They will go to the finance team. Prove to me return on investment. They
Hmm.
cannot. So this is what we quantify, and why is very important. Because at the end, the ultimate goal is to find your next ideal employee.
Right.
So the humble job description is the loop. I want to have person that for John, Jack, and Jill, they can work together correct. I want this filter to get inside my company the right fit people that can work with my people, so my culture keeps thriving and doesn't become a toxic environment, and spend less time on paperwork, less time on picking up phones. Can you make the interview then? I cannot. And all this drama that is happening. It's everyday business. So we can focus on the people so they can focus on the business. That's it.
It's very intertwined. And you're right. Everything has a beginning, and the beginning for that is the job description. We need to know where we're starting from in order for us to build the outcome. In in the bigger picture, though, and when you're looking at the bigger picture at Lycos, you're looking at hospitality has very high turnover. It's
Mhm.
one of the industries that you will see that people will churn in and out. I think back in the day when I was doing my data, I was over 30 to 40%. And
Mhm.
particularly for organizations that work in season, like in Greece, for example, when you're losing that amount of staff throughout a season, and you have to replenish that, you not only have the brain drainage, the skills that are living the operation, but also you need now to find time, spend capital, energy from all your other staff members to bring in the people that you need for the next season. Now, if Lycos has been around and tried to tackle that, and you've been around now, you've been doing this for quite a while.
Six
How can you do
years, we're
things
seventh.
differently for people in Greece, for the people in the islands, for example? They're working in seasonality, and for audience that are listening from us from Greece, how can they see that Lycos can help them?
Seasonality, look, I mean, it's the nature of the industry as well. Let's start by saying that people don't live they don't leave companies, right? If you don't look after your people, they will leave. If you don't know your people, how are you gonna look after them? Everyone is different. Everyone is unique. Where is the personalization in the question? It's not a cookie cutter. Okay, let's go, all of you, on the same, direction. Favoritism. I like him. I don't like the other one. The other one look me in a weird way. The world now, right now, is chaotic everywhere in all industries. Hospitality even more with the fluctuations. And this the seasonal thing is interruption of business. However, how we help them is by ensuring we can help them identify the core team. It's not everyone body living. Of course, you will have satellites that will come and go. You have people that they want to do this job, hoping because they want to see the world. It's fine. It's part of it's part of the business. We should be aware of that. However, we should there are always being core with or without Lycos that they will stay there. So how we can maximize the core team, and as the season grows or the business grows or the rates are growing, and they have more visitors on the hotel or on the restaurant, more guests, how we can have a team that can stay with us longer, because those there is a coefficient behind how long someone stays with the company. Anyone who succeeds in 6 months, already they start getting the knowledge of who are the guests, who are the teammates, how the company is functioning, and this it doesn't go in a linear way. Okay, if they're staying one more year, they will know a little bit more. It has an exponential expansion after a while. So if someone stays with you 3 years, it's a valuable asset. You can't lose this person. You need to keep growing them. So this is what we give more clarity, and we simplify things. This is how we help them.
Okay, I'm going to be a little bit controversial now. There's a big conversation right now about AI taking jobs in HR, right? And obviously, you are the conduit between HR, human capital, the industries that you're working with. What's your take? Is Lycos replacing HR professionals, or are you giving them superpowers?
That's a fantastic question, Ivan. What the tool we built was to give superpowers. Our philosophy is not about replacing anyone. It's about making. It's about working all the efficiencies so they don't have to, or because they don't have the time to work their efficiencies internally. Dehumanizing HR. I mean, it's. Uh, I don't see anyone in the right mind that they should remove anyone from the HR. And there's a big discussion about it. Okay, AI will take over all the jobs. So it was a very small study. Company A, B, and C. Company A has all the employees. Let's say they're removing everyone, so they can cut on their overheads. Because having people, it has overheads.
That's
But then
right.
it's not a business. It becomes a software company, right? You
That's
cannot
right.
replace people. My prediction on this is, and of course, it will requires effort. It requires everyone to go back and learn new things. And not many people like learning new things, but we're in a focal point of what happened with technology. We never had so much computing power in our hands. We never had such architectures in our hands. And there is also quantum computing coming pretty fast. That's gonna
Is this the next step, Kyriakos?
is gonna give us is gonna give us far more clarity. Look, at the end of the day, science is our best guess, right? Instead of going, let's do this, is let's see what the options we have. So it's not going to. I mean, the leaders, and it's a leader's responsibility, is to help them get the tools so that they can get the superpowers. Because if a company is doing well, they will only have more business, so the HR will be even busier. And even HR, I mean, in their micro scale, they will have tools anyway. They will need tools, because you cannot, again, it doesn't make business sense to hire an army of HR. So what you will do, you will apply technology so you can work the efficiencies and get better results. But so yeah, I don't see it replacing HR. I mean, we will hear of uh, jobs evolving. For example, We have, it was a Harvard Business Review made the study AI on the HR. They're predicting 23 new roles for the HR. Who is going to fill up these places? One of them is the job of the performance manager. We have now the wellness manager. So what we will see is HR from, depending again the structure of the company, if they're more on the admin side, on the paperwork side, we'll start seeing new roles evolving. And I think it's great times for the human resources professionals. As long as they educate themselves, understand what is AI, it's very, very normal to feel fear about it. Oh my God, I'm going to lose the job. They're shutting down everything and they're becoming very, very protective. Most likely, this is going to cost them to lose their job. And they're going to lose the job not to AI, but to people using AI.
But from the other side, you can see that people are working, developing AI. They literally, and I'm talking about coders, people that are working in tech at the moment. They're developing AI to the level that they are coding themselves out of the job.
That's true.
And you can see that people are now being laid off because AI can code better, faster,
Yep.
and is more efficient. So there is this discrepancy, and you're right. There is this transition period. I remember one technology, and I had a conversation with my mentor this morning, and she said, "Evan, I remember the time that the internet came. Everybody was scared about the internet. Everybody thought they're going to lose their job. The computer will come in and they will take over everything. Then the evolution of emails and the high-speed internet and the communication and the social media and everything. And we are still busier than we used to be 50 years ago
Yeah.
with all these tools."
Yeah.
And she said something this morning that said, it doesn't matter what technology brings us, humans have the ingenuity within them to create something different, to create a different path, which got me thinking, in 3 years' time, in 5 years' time, what do you see Lykos being? What is the path that you are setting yourself or the goal that you're setting yourself? And what kind of company should be talking to you right now?
In 3 years from now, look, we don't think. At least the focus on the team is we care of what we're doing today, and this is from experience because when we launched, we hit on COVID straight away, lockdowns, no people. Uh, Very interesting story for another time. Nowadays, Dubai will have this conflict right away. Hospitality, decapacitated, and everything. Of course, we're a bit more diversified, so I cannot really, and we're not really focusing on the 3 years. Yes, technology-wise, we'll keep a very open eye on what's coming. We also, for sure, know that technology and the vendors itself will cannibalize each other. It's a very aggressive game out there right now. But as you said, and as your mentor said, yes, new roles will evolve. Humans, the only thing is, on the tools, we're having so many tools, and we are busier, is because there is so much noise. On the email side, back in the days, you will send one letter very well written to the point because you were expecting a response 2 weeks later. If you were like in the letter, the mail wouldn't be lost. Nowadays, everybody has your email address, and you're getting spammed left, right, and center. That you need to delete until to clear the
You
noise
need
and get
more
to the
tools.
message.
You need more tools to filter them out so you
You need
don't get the spam, right?
exactly. This is where the digital strategy comes into play. So back in the days of the internet, which was early to late 90s, 2000s, we had the problem of the websites. I don't need a website. What am I going to do with the website? Everybody knows me. 5 years later, these people, their clients couldn't find them online,
That's right.
so they vanished. Some industry experts claim they predict that AI will have 40 times larger impact than the internet. And you know what it does? Everyone who is using AI, they can maximize their output using it correctly, right? I mean, getting educated about it, what to say, what not to say, what limitations to put on a very basic prompt engineering level, what to ask on a chat. They can maximize the productivity minimum by 7x. That's massive. So new roles will evolve. There's new roles coming up now. If I'm not wrong, the name is front front engineering developers. Don't quote me on that. Which is the same companies, instead of that they're having already clientele, they go and talking with their clients how to help them create AI for their specific needs, because AI can be very very personalized. You can build whatever you want nowadays. So there is jobs creating. Is going to be a shift, 100%, but no more than any larger crisis that we saw in 2008 or earlier the last 20 years. It will be a transformation. Who is getting on the bus, to digitize the everyday tasks. That's it. If they do that, just then the same people can be allocated to more meaningful jobs. So in our case, is instead of going through the CVs, see the person's report, so you can have meaningful conversations, understand the person. So we humanize it. We don't dehumanize it. Now, where will be in 3 years, Ivan? I mean, we just want to keep doing what we're doing with more accuracy and hearing to our clients and developing things that can give them more clarity. Again, it's all about that clarity and definition.
That's right. Clarity. Something that we need, all of us.
It's a very noisy world,
Kyriakos,
100%.
it is. And what it does is that our life has been turned into data points. Data points that can be mined, scraped, fed into an AI, to an algorithm, and they will dictate the next, like you said, AI and human nature is designed. What is the next step to predict? What is the next step?
Absolutely.
That is the way we are now. That is the age of AI, and either you're on it or you're going to be left behind. And you talked about the humanizing and the dehumanizing of the tech. Human skills, power skills are the ones that are going to take us to the next level. Because once everybody is adept with AI, the next phase will be how we can still be connected with one each other, how we can hold our humanity, how we can have a coffee with a friend that I haven't seen for so many years. And before I let you go, Kyriakos, one last question. What is your advice for people that are getting into the industry, that are getting into the workforce at the moment? What is the number one thing that they can do in order for them to have a successful career?
Ivan, thank you for the question. I try to avoid advices. Um, I'm not better than anyone else. Yeah. I think the best advice is learn, don't stop learning, because the world will change. Whatever they learn in school in 5 years won't exist. They won't be real, because we will learn new things and fail fast. I think that's key. Fail fast. Go and try. Don't avoid overthinking. Avoid planning too much. Just go and get it done. Fall down, stand up, don't give up. Keep learning. That's it.
And with that, Kyriakos, thank you very much for joining me today. That was a very insightful conversation. It's been a pleasure, mate.
Pleasure, Ivan. Thank you very, very much.